Hi, welcome back to the next alternative punishment. In this video, we're going to talk about a very powerful technique you can use with children of all ages. But specifically, this one is really good for older children, right? And even teenagers it's very effective for. Okay, this one is called using family meetings. Okay, in my book, Democratic Parenting, I also have a chapter on how to use family meetings. And I'm going to cover just some of the most important points about how to set up these family meetings and why and how they can be so effective in terms of getting your child's behavior to work with you in order to win their cooperation and help to overcome any types of difficult behavior that you don't want to deal with anymore. Okay, so again, you can use this for children of all ages. You can even use it for very young children, although the content of the family meeting will vary quite a bit, right? The way you communicate, the details, and what you talk about will vary based upon the age of the child and what they're able to understand. Okay, so there's three parts in setting up a family meeting in order for it to be effective. The first one is the beginning, the setup. The second one is the content, the details of what you're going to talk about, and then the closing the family meetings. These three parts are a must, okay? They're crucial in order to make these family meetings effective. If you don't do a proper introduction or if you skip the closure, then they're really ineffective. They're not even worth doing, okay? So make sure you follow these three steps. Okay, opening the family meeting, talk about, and then the middle part where you're going to bring up any content or where you start to ask questions or bring up any issues or any problems you're dealing with. And then the final part, the closure part, okay, to close the meeting. And that creates almost like a type of ritual. And that brings so many positive things to a child and meets their needs for participation, feeling like they're a part of something, their connection. So it's important to follow all these three steps. Now, before we go into some detail about these three steps, I want to highlight the most important thing about family meetings, and that is that it's an opportunity to connect with your child. Remember, connection is perhaps the most important need that you can meet for your child, especially around the emotional and social and psychological needs. Their need to feel connected to you out trumps almost all the other needs, okay? Because if they feel connected, then they're going to feel safe and secure and encouraged. They're going to have your attention, right? And that's the foundation of it all. Remember what I told you in one of the previous videos is that instinctively, if a child's sense of connection with their adult caregiver is broken, it's going to trigger their fear response. Their survival instinct is going to get triggered inside them because instinctively all children know that their very survival depends upon their connection with their adult caregiver. So anything that threatens their perception, anything that undermines their sense of connection can trigger the survival instinct. And that survival instinct takes them out of the frontal cortex, the higher thinking part of their brain, and causes them to react irrationally, emotionally, and they're driven by needs rather than by a good judgment and clear thinking, okay? So we need to remember that these family meetings are a way to help meet the child's needs, okay? The need for connection, also the need for attention. It's a need for autonomy, the need for encouragement, the need for participation and contribution, the need for information. So many of the needs we talk about are met during these family meetings. That's why it's so effective. That's what makes it such a powerful technique, right? Because it meets all these underlying needs. Right? We talked about before setting limits and asking questions as alternatives to punishment. Those are very powerful methods in order to interrupt the behavior in the moment. When a child starts to misbehave, right in the moment, you can use the ask a question, or you can set a kind and firm limit in a way to interrupt the behavior, to take immediate action to shift the circumstance and what's happening right in the moment. Now, the family meetings, you will call these at other times. So these help to meet a lot of the underlying needs and to help to get your child to cooperate with other issues, to create, to work with them on a different level. Okay, so remember that. First and foremost, the family meetings are a way to meet your child's underlying needs and to make them feel connected to you and the rest of the family. Okay? And the other part are the 3 steps to the meetings. The first part is the opening part of the meeting. Okay, so the opening part, you can create a type of ritual. Okay, sometimes you can serve a drink or a snack. I recommend you do not eat during the main content of the family meetings, because that can be a distraction. You want everybody's full attention to be fully engaged. Okay, but you can maybe serve a snack beforehand. You can sometimes sing a song beforehand. Okay, what I like to do is I recommend to start off by going around and saying appreciations about everybody. So one person will start and they will say something they appreciate about each person in the who's engaged in the family meeting. Okay, this is a great way, especially to help deal with sibling rivalry. And the rule is that you have to say anything you appreciate about the other person, right? And you need to set limits and boundaries within these family meetings, that it's an area for complete respect where everybody's equal. Therefore, one sibling can't be disrespectful to another. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Okay. Now, if there's a lot of tension between 2 siblings and you enter the family meeting with that tension, and you feel that one of them might, take a jive or a jab at one of the other siblings during the opening, they might say something mean or hurtful rather than appreciative. You might try a different way to create the opening. Okay. Maybe say something about what they appreciate about their home, or about their life, or anything like that. And it just goes around and it sets the stage for a family meeting that has full of gratitude and appreciation and positivity. Okay, so after you go through the opening, you've said your appreciations, then you're going to talk about the main content of the meeting. During the content, you can relay any type of information. You can talk perhaps about any trips you're going to take, or any holidays or vacations, or festivals that are going to come up, or any type of information that you want to relay. Maybe talk about the next weekend, anything like that. You can talk about those things. And you can also bring up any issues, right, around discipline, around behavior, around family responsibilities, chores, anything like that can come up during that time. During the content part of the family meeting, the second step after you've done the opening, it's important that everybody feels respected. Nobody interrupts another person. Each person can take their turn to go around and talk about things. And when you're, say, for example, if you're trying to help a child find a way in order for them to clean up their room, right? Perhaps the child is just not cleaning up their room, and you need to bring this up during the family meeting. So you might ask the child a question, right? Use the technique I talked about before. Ask them, how come it's really hard for you to clean up your room? Or are there ways that can make cleaning your room better? And try and get the child to provide solutions. By allowing your child to come up with their own solutions to any specific subjects that you bring up during the family meetings, that will meet their need for autonomy. It meets their need for respect and for challenge. And the child is going to be much more willing to follow through on their own suggestions rather than something that they feel that was imposed upon them. So if you can get your child to provide solutions, that's the best thing, because now you know something that will work for them, and if it works for everybody else, then why not, right? Another example is with homework, right? If a child's struggling with homework or schoolwork, and you can ask them questions and they're not getting their homework done, and then maybe what you can do is outline the schedule and say, okay, listen, we come back from school at 3:30, and then we have to have dinner, and if you want to play, there's a bit of time for that, and then there's bedtime, at 8 o'clock. So, when during this time do you want to do your homework? Because it needs to be done. Do you want to do it right away, or do you want to do it after a little bit of play? If they say after a little bit of play, they say, okay, then that means that you'll only be able to play for 20 minutes or half an hour, because then you're going to need the amount of time, the rest amount of time before dinner in order to do your homework, right? And you can just outline it logically and rationally and make sure that they're on side, that they agree with you. Because if they do, they're going to be more willing to follow through on that agreement. Okay, and then they might say, okay, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll get my homework over with first, and then I'll have more freedom to play. So they might change their mind and provide other solutions, and you want to be flexible and encouraging during that time. Because again, it meets their need for encouragement, for autonomy, by offering them choice, but for information as well, by giving them different options and by outlining the entire situation of an issue that meets their needs for information, and it meets their needs for contribution and participation. Okay, very powerful, important needs that get met during these family meetings. Then finally, after you've talked about whatever it is you need to talk about, you close the meeting, okay? And this is part of a way of closing the ritual. Again, you can sing a song, or maybe you can have a snack at the end that you've saved to the end, a dessert or a treat, or some home-baked cookies or something. Or you can go around it. One of my favorite ways is to get everyone to go around and talk about something they're looking forward to, okay? So that's a great way to close the meeting and to end it on a positive note, again, about looking forward, positive anticipation of some situation or event. Maybe they're looking forward to Christmas or a birthday or a vacation or anything like that. But it gets everybody, it opens them up to share, so they get to know each other and feel connected with each other and get to understand each other and what inspires them, what's motivating them. So try this out. Try out the family meetings. It works fantastic for children of all ages. Again, younger children, you might skip a lot of the intellectual content types things. Maybe you're just going to get together and sing some songs, and you won't, especially with toddlers or children who are really young, you might, the family meetings aren't very effective in order for discipline and behavior, but it's something that you can introduce really young in order to build that ritual in your family, so that they get to know it. And then as they get older, they feel it's a safe environment. And the key again here is you want children to feel safe. That it's a space, it's an open forum where they have equal say. And that's the way to make it effective on all levels of meeting their needs, is for them to feel like it's a safe environment. So you need to also protect siblings if they start to jab at each other, and establish some ground rules and house rules for these family meetings to make sure that it is a safe and nurturing environment for everybody involved in the family meeting. So try it out. It works very well. It's a very effective technique. And if you want more details, again, in my book, Democratic Parenting, there's an entire chapter about how to set up these family meetings. I look forward to hearing how it works for you. Please share your comments with me on this page or send me an email. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video, the next alternative to punishment. So remember, give your children all your love. Give yourself that same love too, and together we can build a brighter future.